Smash Brothers is right around the corner for American gamers, which is good because we're all getting really tired of the demo. I consider myself a pretty big Smash Brothers fan, and I've been playing the Japanese version for about a week. Unlike some of my other reviews, this review will not showcase any of the music or gameplay from the game. Nintendo is very hardcore about keeping game footage and music off of YouTube, so I'm just not gonna fight them. I've actually been saying since practically the very first Smash that they should have some sort of Smash on a handheld console. I actually highly expected there to be a release of Smash Brawl on the DS back when that came out. It took a generation, but it looks like we finally have it now. I'm going to give myself up a little bit and say that I love the way it controls on a handheld console. I do have a few gripes, mainly with the quote-unquote control stick. But we'll get onto those later. I want to get the positives out of the way first. As much as I love Smash Brothers, playing Melee and Brawl just for hours on end was a little bit impossible for me because I would always get too tired of it or need some kind of break with a different game. With Smash on a 3DS, however, I can pull it out at work during my lunch break or something, have a few rounds, and then put it away. Also, if my friends happen to also get the game, I can just pull it out and play with them if we're at dinner or something. The graphics are beautiful for a handheld console. Don't go trying to compare these to Super Smash Bros. Brawl, even though I know you want to. They don't look as good as Brawl, but you can't really expect it to. For the 3DS version, they went with a very cartoony, cel-shaded look, and it looks good for the platform. Sakadai came out and told us that all the characters would move at 60 frames per second, while everything else in the background moved at 30 frames per second. I ain't no tech nerd, I have no idea what any of that means, but the characters move very smoothly, and it's a very fluid game. The only thing graphically that I really have to point out are the Pikmin. Olimar was my main in Brawl, so Olimar was one of the first characters that I played as in 3DS. Olimar himself moves very good, very fluid, but his Pikmin move noticeably slower. Pretty sure it was to reduce lag. If you have 4 Olimars in one stage, all throwing Pikmin, it could get kind of laggy on a handheld console. But the Pikmin move like slideshows or PowerPoint presentations compared to everything else. This isn't a big problem. It doesn't affect Olimar's gameplay whatsoever, but it is noticeable. I said a little earlier that I loved the way that this version of Brawl handled on a handheld, and I mean that. Gameplay was slowed down for Brawl to make it a little more realistic, a little more heavy, and they've taken all of that away. This is definitely more original Smash to Melee. Not only are characters moving and attacking very fast now, but invincibility frames when downed have been really reduced. If you get knocked on your back in the middle of a fight and you don't get up immediately, chances are you're taking some heavy damage. Other than that, it's pretty much the same Smash you've always known and loved. No new moves or mechanics have been added. Character roster hits about 48, 49 depending on whether you count the Miis. I'll try my best not to spoil a huge chunk of the roster in case you're going into this pure. However, do understand that I have to give some spoilers about the roster away in order to talk about the game. Now this roster is huge compared to the other games. Absolutely ginormous. In Brawl we only had 39 characters. We're getting a whole 10 more in this one. Of course, that has its downsides too. More on that later. I went into this with kind of an old school mindset, wanting to just get really good with the characters that I already know and love, like Link and maybe some Luigi. But I gotta be honest, the new characters they added are a lot of fun. Personally, I don't know why, but I've fallen in love with a little character named Shulk. I don't know if he's going to be competitive, or picked up by pro players, or even any good in the metagame, but I kind of have a soft spot for Shulk, and I think I'll take him on as my main. Other characters I'm having a lot of fun with right now are Pac-Man, Robin, Ike, Zero Suit Samus, and Greninja. In fact, as far as I'm concerned, I actually love a lot of the cast. There's only a few characters that I don't like playing as. I still don't like Donkey Kong, I still don't like Diddy Kong, I don't like Palutena. Not really a fan of Bowser, Fox, or Falco. I also, despise Yoshi. Not just dislike or hate, but I hate Yoshi. I hate him. Why? Why do people like this thing? I probably just hate him because I suck with him, but whatever. You don't have the right to judge me. Even with all those characters I don't really like playing as, that leaves me with over 40 characters that I do enjoy playing as, which is more than an entire Brawl roster. One other thing that I wanted to talk about with the characters are the Mii fighters. Now, I thought Mii fighters were going to be kind of like a throw-on, tacked-on staple character just to show off the Miis. If you don't know already, you can take your own personal Miis from the 3DS and turn them into a fighter, a swordsman, or a blaster. They all have their own movesets that you can customize, and they all have their own final smashes, pretty much everything needed to turn them into legit characters. I was gonna ignore them at first, but I gotta say, I am digging the Mii fighters. Not only are they all a lot of fun to play, but they're pretty good. They'll probably never be seen in competition, but I just had to point out how well Nintendo implemented the Mii fighters. Some of you are probably going to be looking for some info on how tournament play is going to change, and to be honest, I'm not a competitive player by any stretch. I do, however, watch a lot of Super Smash Bros. Tournaments, and I follow some of the bigger names, so I can tell you a few things. I'm not good enough at the game to tell if Meta Knight has been nerfed significantly or not, but I can tell you that Glide has been taken out of the game completely. This means Meta Knight can't really shark under the stage like he used to, his up B is changed because there's no more Glide. Charizard can't do his Glide momentum-based Rock Smash, and Pit can't, well, let's be honest, nobody played Pit. Other than that, he seems pretty much the same. We'll have to see how pro players react. Ice Climbers have been removed from the game completely, which makes me sad because I played them casually, but after watching a bunch of tournaments, I do understand why they needed to be removed. Their replacement is Rosalina, and Rosalina is a lot of fun to play, so don't be too discouraged. She brings a lot of new things to the table. Just pick her up, you can have your little star thing float in mid-air and do combos. That's going to be broken at some point. The only other competitive character I'll talk about is Marth. Marth doesn't seem to have changed at all. Like, literally, I can't see any change. We'll have to wait and see if pro players say something about frames or damage or whatever, but as far as I can tell, he's the exact same Marth from Melee. Let's do a quick rundown of game modes. Of course, you have your regular Smash and your group Smash if you actually have friends. You have an achievement system just like Brawl, which will give you some new stages, some trophies, all that good stuff, give you something to do. We now have online play, which I will be talking about later. A new mode called Field Smash, which is exactly like City Trial from Kirby's Air Ride if anybody actually played that. This mode is a lot of fun and brings a lot to the table. For those who aren't familiar with City Trial, you pretty much run around a big map fighting monsters and collecting power-ups, and after 5 minutes, everybody's thrown into some kind of match. It could be a free-for-all, it could be a team fight, it could be a race, it could be any number of things. The power-ups you collected while running around the map will stick with you, and you'll get to keep them during whatever mode you get to play. It's a lot of fun, and it can also be played multiplayer. In fact, if you're playing multiplayer, to keep things from getting stale, this is the mode I would recommend you play for multiplayer. Classic mode returns, and it's been changed up a little bit. Your character will start out on like a game board and walk forward along a straight path, and the path will split up into one of 3 sections. Each section will have a symbol for the character that you'll fight. For example, if it's Mega Man you're going to fight, it'll have his cog. The paths will all have coins and trophies lined up on them, so you can choose a path based on how many coins or what trophy you want. And after you choose a path, you'll go down that path and fight that enemy. It gets a little deeper than that, but that's the basics, and I don't want to spoil all of the little surprises. The only other thing I'll really note on is the difficulty. Difficulty is now based on a slider similar to Kid Icarus Uprising if you happen to play that for the 3DS. It's numbered 1 through 9, and you can also choose between 10 increments in between each number, so technically there are 90 levels of difficulty. Personally, I don't know what kid's gonna sit there and be like, well, 7.8 was a little too difficult, but 7.7 is perfect for me. I really only play on the main numbers. I mean, come on, guys, come on. The risk reward here is you have to pay to play at the higher difficulties, but if you win, you get a lot more coins and goodies. So you want to be playing on a difficulty that you can handle, but you can still win at so you don't end up wasting all of your money. The only thing I'll kind of spoil about Classic Mode is this. Try playing it at the hardest difficulty, because if you can get to the end, there's a boss waiting for you that you're going to want to see. AllStar Mode is back. You pretty much fight like 7 characters at a time at once, depending on the era that they come from. Like, characters from 1981 to 1985 will show up, so on and so forth. In between fights, you have health items that you can get if you really need them, but they're limited, so you don't want to use them all up at once or too early. This can still be played cooperatively as well, which is a great addition. MultiMan Brawl is back, but instead of wireframes or whatever those things in Brawl were supposed to be, they're actually Mii fighters, which is great. Your 3DS will actually pull the different Miis you have from your system and dress them up like the Mii fighters, which is a nice little addition. They also added a mode called Rival Battle, and Rival Battle is actually a lot of fun. See, they add another version of your character that's also trying to take out the Mii fighters, and at the end of the game, your score is subtracted from your opponent's score to see how much you actually got. So like, if you knock out 56 and your opponent knocks out 30, then you get a score of 26. Target Smash is now Angry Birds, and I don't approve of this. I don't approve of this at all. I'd love to give you more of an explanation, but calling it Angry Birds is pretty much all you're going to need until you get to play it yourself. Home Run Contest is back. Home Run Contest is pretty much the same as it's always been, the one difference being that there's now a force field around your platform, so you don't have to worry about tapping the sandbag a little too hard and getting a score of 0.1. You can now knock him around to your heart's content, and he'll only fly out if you hit him with a move a little too hard or if you use the baseball bat. Thank God Yoshi isn't the only way to do well at Home Run Contest anymore, because I hate Yoshi! That's really everything as far as gameplay modes are concerned. Character customizing is now a thing. This is most common with the Mii fighters, but you can actually customize any character that you want to, and during most Brawl matches you can turn the characters on or off. Characters have 3 stats, attack, defense, and speed, and you can give them items that increase one stat but decrease another. For example, you can give yourself plus 36 attack, but you have to take away like minus 24 defense to do it. You can either play a balancing game where you try to get all of the numbers to be positive, but you don't get as much of a bonus to anything, or you can just go super ham on one stat, give yourself like all attack, but suck at defense and speed. Stats aren't the only thing that can be customized, though. You can also customize your character's movesets now. Upgraded versions of the character's moves can now be unlocked and added to the characters themselves. Upgraded versions of moves now make the moves slightly different and in most cases a lot better. The example I'll give is Ike's B-Up. Normally his B-Up goes straight up 90 degrees, but if you use the upgraded version, his sword goes at a 45-degree angle, allowing you to get much more distance. While it gives you much more distance, it's also a lot more punishing if you use it near an edge, because you could just fly straight off the edge and there's no recovery. The great thing is, if there's an upgraded version of a move you don't like, then you can still keep some moves upgraded and some moves not. So for example, we'll use Ike again. If you happen to like the way all of his upgraded moves work except for his up B, because that 45-degree angle is just throwing you off and it keeps causing you to kill yourself, you can just make that one the normal one and keep all of the other ones upgraded. I'm afraid that the customization isn't going to be very useful for competitive play, but if you're just screwing around with your friends, it should prove a lot of lulz. One thing that I definitely want to touch on is the online play, because I know a lot of people are going to be curious. Does it fail as hard as Brawl's online play? In a simple, short answer, no. No, it doesn't. But nothing can be as bad as Brawl's online play. I played about 5 matches, one of them being a ranked match, the other ones being unranked. And I am happy to say that while there was a slight smidgen of lag, it was pretty darn sound. Overall, I was very impressed. In fact, because I was connecting to Japanese servers, that was probably what was giving me my lag. So if they come out with the American servers and they're even better than that, I can't even imagine how many hours I'll waste playing online mode. The one sad, unfortunate thing that I have to point out is the online mode probably won't last much more than about 8 months. Most people are probably going to be using the DS version as a holdover until the Wii U version comes out. While I have absolutely no doubts in my mind that people will continue to play the DS version for the next 2 or 3 years, this causes a slight problem. Think about it. If you're going to go online and play while you're at home where you have your Wi-Fi at, you're probably going to be playing on the Wii U version. Chances are, if you're playing the DS version, then you're somewhere that doesn't have Wi-Fi or you're not at home. You can't exactly pull this out in the grocery store and play some online matches while you're shopping for groceries. Just ain't gonna work. So far, I've been talking about how much I love this game and how positive I think it is, but with the good obviously comes the bad, and there are a couple of things that I need to point out. I've really only got two complaints for this game, and I'm going to get the small one out of the way first, and then we'll move on to the bigger one. The small complaint I have is control customization is very lacking. For example, I don't really like the little nub control stick thing, and I would much rather use the D-pad to move. However, there are no options to move with the D-pad. I'm stuck with the nub. This is a pretty small complaint, but come on, Nintendo, this isn't 2004. We can now put in customization options that let us use more than one controller setup. And now that we have that out of the way, let's get to the big one. Character clones are bullcrap. I'm going to go on to a rant about character clones that they added to the game. So like I said before, if you don't want any character spoilers or anything, you can go ahead and just end it here. But I'm going to talk about this because this is something that needs to be said. The clones that they added to this game to pad it out are unacceptable. For context, I'm mainly talking about Dr. Mario, Dark Pit, and Lucina. We were already dealing with character clones. Luigi got his own little identity, but he was still kind of a clone of Mario. Ganondorf was a clone of Captain Falcon, and Falco was a clone of Fox. Again, even though these characters were clones, they were all given special things to give them their own identity and make them really different from each other. Now, Dr. Mario, I guess I can kind of understand, because this game has a lot of retro stuff in it, and it's trying to bring back, hey, look how cool Dr. Mario was in Melee, we brought him back, aren't we awesome? Okay, so I'm almost okay with that. Black Pit is exactly Pit in every conceivable manner. The only thing noticeably different about him is his final smash is different. In fact, cherry on the crap cake is that his final smash is a ripoff of Zelda's final smash. So Dark Pit rips off not one, but two different characters. Maybe they were having trouble deciding which final smash to give Pit, so they gave Pit one and then included Dark Pit so that they could give the other one too, but that is... oh! But the biggest offender of all is Lucina, who is exactly Marth. Oh, but Kudo, what did you expect? In Fire Emblem Awakening, she introduced herself as Marth. She learned her fighting style from Marth. She was like Marth in every conceivable way. Yeah, I know, which is probably why she shouldn't have been added in the game this way. Her specials are the same, her smashes are the same, her throws are the same, her stupid rolling animation is the same. The only thing remotely different is the taunts. Oh, watch out, taunts are different. Oh, Kudo, they're giving us characters for free. Why are you complaining about it? Because it's padding and it's bullcrap. It was an easy way to just take other characters, reskin them, and then sell them off as brand new characters so that their roster looked bigger. Think about it. If every single clone was taken out, we'd have a roster of about 42 to 43 characters. Oh, that's just not as pretty as 49. But representation. Here's my question. Why couldn't they have just been added as alternate costumes to the existing characters? Some of the costumes are very creative. Okay, we have Wireframe Little Mac, we have Fierce Daddy Link, we can play as WarioWare Wario or Original Wario. Why not just have a costume change that turns Mario into Dr. Mario, or Marth into Lucina, or Pit into Dark Pit? Adding them as external characters is just so dumb and lazy. I can't forgive it. Oh, but what if some of the moves actually interact in a different way, like Mario's Pills Bounce? Oh yeah? Well, this version of Smash added customizable moves, so why couldn't they have just taken the actions of the newer characters and made them customizable versions that you can add to the existing characters? Everything about it is dumb. There's no argument, no reasonable explanation you can give me as to why all of these clones needed to be here. Alright, I can't talk about it anymore. I can't do it because we're running way too long. We need to wrap this up and give our final thoughts. So now it's time for the score. I give this a perfect worth it score of $40. This game is definitely worth full retail price. If you're watching this, you've probably already gotten it pre-ordered. I don't even know why I'm telling you that it's worth its $40. It is. I'm achievement hunting right now, and I've put about 30 hours into the game. I'll probably put like 130 more after. So much content, so much replayability, so many good characters. This is the best Smash Bros. Game to have ever come out. If you're going to refuse to take off your nostalgia goggles and hold up Melee on some sort of pedestal or the original Smash on some sort of pedestal and, Well, nobody holds Brawl on a pedestal, but still, okay, this is better than any other Smash that's ever come out, and the Wii U version is going to rock face. This has been Kudo. I'll try to leave my friend code in the description somewhere. Please leave this video a like if you enjoyed it, comment below on your thoughts on Smash, and finally, subscribe to stay up to date on the latest Kudo news. Now, if you'll excuse me, my DS is charged. I'ma go have me some fun.